All right, this week's episode of Magnified, we are joined by two guests, the co-founders of Home, an app that I'm very excited about. I learned a bit about it last week, and I'm excited for all of our viewers and listeners to understand and get a better idea of what it is. I always let the guests introduce themselves, so I'll let you two give a little spiel about who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into the conversation. I don't know who wants to start.
Go ahead, Will.
Oh, you go ahead, Jeff.
All right, we're being nice today. Hey, Jeff Zakrzewski. One of the co-founders of Home, and my background spans falling in love with data in the manufacturing days in the early 2000s, even as a teenager, and then working in the genome space, and then cut my teeth into real estate in around 2012-13. My background's all around data, building modernized applications, servicing value through data, automating key functions along the value chain, and really getting into the origination space all the way through servicing, building out AVMs, running a team, being the largest aggregator of MLS data across the U.S. And so deep backgrounds in data, feeding a lot of data to the big data providers out there, ingesting a lot of data from them, and then servicing value, bringing us to Home, where we're servicing value through two mobile apps, which we'll get into in a second. So thank you.
Awesome. Vo, you're up next. I think you're muted. We can't hear you.
Might have lost him.
Yeah, let's see. I can edit this out.
I'll talk about maybe where Vo and I had met. He can do a brief intro here when he jumps back on. But we met at Zome. Mr. Cooper Group's a large mortgage servicer that's out there. We were a part of Zome, which was the technical services arm, working through the originations process all the way into servicing, where we actually sold distressed properties in an auction platform, over 100,000 properties over the course of a number of years. And so our backgrounds really span all the different key pieces of data, a lot of different technologies, but really the key values, the key functions along the value chain across originations and servicing. And we've even managed panels of agents back in the day, and also built out search portals, had our own native app that we had as well. And so that led us into starting Home and really peeling back the covers and understanding the gaps and really connecting the disconnected, and really surfacing value and making sure we're trying to shift some things left on behalf of the current or future homeowner, and then really providing some invaluable tools for agents as well to really heighten the experience. So I think we might have Vo back.
Yeah, apologize for that, guys.
Okay.
Go ahead. I just went into how we met, so you can do your personal intro now.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Again, apologies for that. So I started my career at Bank of America as an analyst, and spent 20 years in mortgage and real estate. The last stint was at Mr. Cooper Group. That's where I met Jeff. And I was the head of finance for a number of years, and then ran the data services business. The last couple of years I was there, and worked with Jeff very closely on that. And Jeff, did you go into our clients in Bank of America, RPR, and all that stuff?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. You can touch on specifics if you want to, for sure.
Yeah. So from the MLS perspective, our largest client was RPR and NAR. So we really pulled down, curated, and served that data back up to them. And then also part of the business was building out real estate websites and recapture tools. And the largest client there was Bank of America. So realestatecentered.bankofamerica.com is something that we worked on and hosted still to this day. And from there, we left a couple of years ago, about 18 months ago, to start Home. And we really just took a look at the personas of the real estate agent team and brokerage and their customers, and built out the platform that we have today.
One of the things, you guys have a ton of pedigree for real estate data and stuff like that. What I think is really interesting is, with all the upheaval coming, there's definitely changes that are going to happen. There's no point really going into the NAR settlement because it's all still up in the air. But it's very apparent that the home buying process, the home searching process is going to change. And you guys were ahead of the curve because you started the company in 22, right? A long time before this was all kind of going on. What was it that you identified about the industry, consumers and agents, that there was a gap missing that caused you to start this company?
Do you want to start,
Yeah,
Bill?
yeah. Sorry about that. So what we wanted to do when we looked at the overall industry was that there was a disconnect between the experience of a consumer through the transaction. So prior to the transaction, throughout the transaction, whether it's buy and sell, and then post transaction. And so I think agents, realtors get a bad rep for going from being very transactional and going from transaction to transaction. We wanted to create a better experience through technology, through data, which is why we created this engagement platform. And so we want the experience to be created once the lead is qualified through the buy and sell transaction, and when the homeowner is living in the home for 7 to 10 years before they're buying and selling again. We want to keep that agent top of mind. We want that agent to continue to add value to that homeowner and continue to keep engaged.
Yeah, I guess we should rewind a little bit and talk about what the app is and how it serves the agents and consumers. So why don't we start there? Because I have a bunch of questions I want to get into about it.
Okay. So the experience is really two native apps. There was 10 good reasons to build one app, and there was 1,000 great reasons to build two apps. And really underlying all that is our PropGeno.ai platform that powers it all. There's a lot of sharing on how we architected it, but there's also a lot of key things that we're doing in terms of servicing value, providing tools, access to data, deeper, richer data for agents that they can understand to really get educated and help current and future homeowners have their experience in terms of whether they're preparing to buy a home, whether they're in a home and they want to understand different alternatives on how to leverage their home or improve their home, or just retain the value and maintain it, and then also as they exit, really understanding when's a good time to exit, and as part of that, a lot of it comes down to, from a home buyer perspective, which there's a lot of change that may or may not be coming, but there certainly is some change that is coming. Really make it easy for the agents to collaborate in a real-time environment, and make it easy for the buyers to make sure that multiple buyers can collaborate together with the agent. It's all multi-party, collaboration in real time, and be able to have messages, to be able to really create a seamless environment, to make sure it's really connected experience. I think that big thing is the connection and the collaboration, and providing the tools and servicing the value of the data when they need it, for the agent or the teams versus the current or future homeowner. And that's really helped drive the experience, and just to make it a lot easier to understand affordability and be able to do things once up front, understanding purchase profiles, and have that apply in real time across all the different listings and all the different properties that are out there, versus something that even the industry is kind of a lot of point solutions. We didn't want the experience to be kind of point, very property by property. We wanted to allow the current and future homeowners the ability to traverse and navigate and look at all different property types, understanding the different types of loans, if they're going to be financing, what's more advantageous to them. And the reality is there's a lot of buyer's remorse today because they really don't know what they're getting into, and they need the education. So there's a lot of information that we surface through the apps to really help educate, re-educate the agents, and educate their clients, the current and future homeowner, and then also continue that education and understanding what's really affordable to them, and what are the alternatives, and that's important to us.
Yeah, one of the things that really excites me about it is that it's not currently available in my market, so I can't test it out. But the fact that it's kind of speaks to the current people who are ready to transact right now, and then also serving the database of an agent, the current homeowners who aren't ready right now. They say 5% of your database is ready to transact, so that leaves 95% of them with nothing to do, and it's to those people, which we'll kind of talk about in a minute. But in terms of the buyers, what kind of stuff have you built? You touched on a few things there, but what kind of stuff have you built in to encourage customers or consumers to stay off of those big portals and do all of their home searching within the app?
Take one more. Well, I think the biggest thing is a connected experience. The agents have it's their brand, right? It is a home app, but you click on it on your phone. We were challenged as we collaborated with top agents and with top brokerage owners from the beginning in a couple of our key markets. We build it alongside with them, and they kept challenging us to say, "Hey, stretch the limits on what you can do with a mobile phone, and really start there." And so a lot of the things that we do is just the initial branding as you connect, the quick connect, the ability to connect seamlessly in just seconds, and then have that connected experience while they're searching for homes on their own and while they're starting to look at favorited properties and they're putting their purchase profiles and understanding affordability, understanding monthly true cost of ownership, and other things around affordability for them. As they want to collaborate, their agents right there with them. So they've kind of got a virtual co-pilot and a physical co-pilot all in one. And it's all in a centralized environment for them to collaborate, and it's not disconnected. You don't have to jump out and send texts or send emails if you want to share properties, if you want to collaborate, with multiple buyers, you can have all of them collaborating in one space and centralizing that experience so they understand what's going on. If they're favoriting properties and there's 3 buyers in it and all 3 of them favorite a property, the agent knows that all 3 of them did. And so if they want to really refine a search for them and make sure they're getting into the right home that's affordable for them, the agent has a lot of tools and gets a lot of value to be able to add additional value into the experience. And that was important for us, and we've gotten great feedback. The agents say, "Hey, I can use this on my own," and home buyers can say, "I can use this on my own," but the power really comes in when the agent and the home buyer or buyers really start collaborating and utilizing the home experience, and that's where a lot of the magic happens. And they just don't. The first time they see their brand, the first time they start understanding, wow, I can collaborate in real time, I can collaborate with multiple buyers or sellers at the same time. Then the light bulbs start to go on, and they say, wow, this platform's here. That's why we call it an engagement platform. It's kind of a new category, but it truly is an engagement platform. You're not sitting there farming, doing things, sending emails, doing a lot of these things. You engage, and you engage app to app, and it's very real time.
How
And I would say a
many?
couple other things,
Go
Paul,
ahead,
that
yeah.
aside from the collaboration, which is really important for us, is a few features that we've put in place in order to create a better experience. So a couple examples of that is the multi-party messaging. Jeff touched on it a little bit, but allow husband and wife, spouses, partners, grandparents, all to get in and collaborate and discuss, the process, which homes, that type of thing. And then in the future, we're bringing in title agents, lenders, so that there's not that quote unquote telephone going around. You're not spinning your wheels trying to figure out if the appraisal's done or not. You can jump in there and say, "Hey, appraisal's done. It appraised for X amount of dollars, and we're good on that piece of it." The other part of it is the search experience. So you can the similar search experience to the big portals out there in terms of the map and the filters. But what we've added is the ability for consumers to go in and really search the MLS by true cost of ownership. And what that is it's a monthly figure that includes the principal, the interest, the taxes, insurance, and HOA. And we've worked with local national providers to bring in utilities, electricity, gas, waste, water, and internet, and combine that into a one monthly payment so that a consumer looking at properties and shopping for homes can really start to understand, okay, I may be pre-qualified for $600,000, but I really know that my monthly budget for housing, including utilities, is between $2,500 and $3,000. So it's really an opportunity to search in a different way and get closer to what it would really cost to own that home. And it's really our attempt to help address home affordability, given that rates are, at all-time highs, or at least in the last couple of decades, and homes are as expensive as they have ever been, really. So combine those two, folks are just a lot more sensitive these days to housing budget.
On that topic of the true cost analysis, or true cost of ownership rather, how has that changed? Is there any insights you guys have on the buying patterns of the consumers that have used that Like, have they then gone and looked at a lesser budget, or has it actually encouraged them to go and buy the home now? Because if rates go up, if the prices go up, now they can see the actual cost of ownership is going to rise with that. Any insights on that?
Yeah, I think so far it's contextualized, relative nature, what one property could mean to another property in terms of
Hmm.
potentially insurance or HOA. One house, one property you may need flood insurance, and other ones you don't. One could be a higher HOA in a condo versus a single family. So it helps compare them apples to apples for one, and then two, I think from a rate perspective and affordability, it helps the agent, and that is something that we surface within our app too, is the mortgage rates on a daily basis. It helps them have that conversation with the consumer. So we haven't heard back, directly that, hey, we're shopping in like we've chosen property A over B because of the true cost of ownership, but it's
Hmm.
really helped them understand that they can be in certain neighborhoods or not because of tax rate, because of HOA, subdivisions, that type of thing, and it helps them understand one property versus another. Anything you want to add to that, Jeff?
I think the other thing is just to try to take the thinking out of it, and so we'll automatically pull in the rates on a daily basis, and now we're working with lenders to talk about pulling rates every hour and understanding all the different loan types and loan different options that are there. But putting that into their purchase profile so they don't have to sit there and try and guess and figure out what things are going on. We have backgrounds, we understand low price adjustments, we understand the things and the factors that would impact maybe the ultimate rate. Obviously, we do it for illustration purposes only, but we try to take some of that thinking out of there because they don't know. I mean, you're buying, even me, I'm going to buy a home every 7 to 10 years. There's a lot of first time home buyers that really don't understand the impacts of what that could be and the different loan types that are out there and how that would impact my monthly costs, let alone my total purchase cost, my uptime, my first
Yeah.
time upfront costs that are there. And so being proactive and really servicing that information, be able to see that on a map, be able to look at a list view and be able to navigate through that really easily and not have to go property by property. I can start looking at things really in bulk and understanding. There could be two properties, two different listings that are across the street from each other, but could have utilities, that are $400 or $500 higher a month on average. And so we'll pull it down to rooftop with our partners and really understand what those costs are. And as they ebb and flow throughout the year, we're updating the utility costs that are there. It's not stagnant, and that's really important that the data that's flowing in to make sure that that experience is as real time as possible. Really important for us, and that's the power of having a platform like PropGeno.ai that gives us a lot of data expertise that we can surface all that value right in through the applications, and users can have it in the palm of their hand, whether they're the agent or whether they're multiple buyers or sellers.
Yeah, what I particularly like about it is just, with the idea that being a buyer's agent in the future real estate market, you're going to have to provide more value, in terms of the services you provide or whatever, because of what's going to happen with the NAR settlement. What I like about this is that it provides an opportunity for that agent just to, you have those two properties, like you said, one across the street is going to have more expensive utilities. Now they can add additional information of what, we could, if we consider changing out this utility, changing the central air, whatever it is, from mini ducts to split ducts to a full, HVAC system. I just feel like that's going to give those buyers agents that much more to provide to those customers. I think it's a really exciting piece of your app. On in terms of how many, so say I'm a buyer's agent, I have 50 people on the go at this time. I may have people, assistants help me out or whatever. What kind of information does the app serve up to those agents, so they're not having to always keep track of, what does the app keep track of and then serve up to the agent so they can kind of stay on top of all of their clients at one time?
Yeah, so within the app, the first time engagement is really a qualified lead, is what we encourage our agents to import into, or start their customer journey, if you will, within the home platform, right? And so with that, we have a notification suite that really tracks on a broad level what the activity of the consumer is, right? So yeah, just walking through that path. The consumer comes in, accepts the invitation, then they're connected. That opens up the channels for the messaging piece of it. It allows the consumer to obviously use the home search and all the capabilities there. And there's certain activities like save searches that they can share. When they favorite properties, we have notifications that go to the agent to let them know which property, who did it, the husband or the wife or whomever favor to the property, and then just other connections as they have referrals. They could refer their neighbor, and once their neighbor downloads the app, the agent will get connected with them as well. And so go ahead and create that contact within their contact book. So we're not a CRM, but we have a lot of the core capabilities of a CRM.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, this week we released our first integration with CRM, which is Follow Up Boss, which is the first integration that we've done. So we encourage agents to really have their quote unquote active clients in the portal or in our platform, and then post transaction to have those clients that they've worked with previously that are now homeowners to invite them as well, because we provide tools for home ownership on our toolkits and our financial tools as well.
Yeah, and I think
Go ahead, Jeff.
I think one more thing, the behaviors in terms of just working, in a mobile environment, the ability to have, intelligent or smart notifications going on to make an agent aware of what's going on, but they may be busy for the next 2 hours. So to be able to pull some things back and go back and look at opportunities that they've created, which will span one-to-end buyers. So there may be 3 buyers as part of an opportunity that they're working through. That information is also centralized back to the opportunity, so they don't have to go search through multiple notifications to see what's happening, what's going on. They have the ability to go right in their dashboard, drill into the opportunity, and see all the different properties that were favorited, and really understanding who favorited them, those kinds of things. There's just a lot of little things that allow you to be as efficient as possible and make sure that you're putting your time that's more value add. We have these guides, these universal guides that walk you through the buying and selling process that really help agents explain the value. Especially buyer's agents, explain the value. These are all the things that I do. A lot of buyer's agents really have a hard time describing all the things that they're doing for their clients, and the universal buy guides automatically, as a buyer looks at it, it says, wow, you do all of these things for me. It's crazy. So
Right.
it's really driving that value and getting over the hump and starting to establish some trust there. And then you're giving them a really powerful search experience, one that one that's been rated one of the tops in terms of cleanliness, in terms of functionality, and so you're giving them a first-class search experience on top of a very, very connected experience, which is very powerful.
Yeah, I love that. Switching gears to the other side of the coin, the value and information it gives to the current home buyers, or current homeowners rather. What kind of stuff is the app serving up to them? Is it? I mean, I'm assuming you can select the cadence of monthly, bi-weekly, daily, that kind of thing. What kind of information is coming from that quote unquote agent to those people in the database?
So a few things that are made available to the homeowner is the property value and estimated home equity. So for every property, we track the AVM value, the property value. We also with our partners, pull in mortgage data. So we're able to calculate the estimated home equity for every home. So once you go in as a homeowner and you can claim your home, on your dashboard, you'll be able to track the last 12 months, what your home value is and what your estimated equity is, right? And then we're now starting to work with partners on opening up calls to action on home equity loans and HELOC loans. So, outlets for homeowners who have the most untapped equity. Everybody keeps saying over the in the history, to be able to access some of that. The other components of the homeowner toolkit are financial tools and calculators. So obviously you got your refinancing, you got analysis tools like should you escrow or not based on the state, right? Certain states let you earn interest on escrow, others don't, depending on how often they're paid. Does it make more sense for you fiscally as a homeowner to hold on to those, insurance and tax funds in your own account and earn interest on it versus having them escrowed with your servicer? So stuff like that from a fiscal standpoint. There's also home maintenance calendars that we're building out, which will have reminders on, the typical ones are, air filters, water filters, when you need to flush your water heater. So a lot of the, call it mundane, if you will, but the hardships of home ownership, the monthly maintenance things, the annual maintenance items, we've really detailed them out and allowed the homeowner to select, right, the
And
frequency of when they wanted to engage.
I think that there's a couple things that are coming too in terms of nearby home sold and home value, and as those things increase, and making sure you understand the
Yeah.
timing of what's there. And the biggest thing is as a new homeowner gets connected to their home, as they work through with our agents and collaborate in real time through the guide, which will have a different flavor as we kind of enter July. But as they work through that, the last piece of that is the checklist. Like the keys are handed over, the new homeowner checklist they transition right into. They don't have to go into another app. They don't have to go into emails. They don't have to go anywhere. It transitions the homeowner. Agent's done. The agent continues to provide value right after the transaction. Say, hey, these are all the things that you need to make sure that you're doing, and we'll even integrate some of the providers that are available for for that subject property, and provide that value, just to avoid a lot of texts and emails and things that are there.
Yeah.
So it's important that the app remains sticky and provides value on behalf of the agent to that homeowner as they transition right out of that transaction into home ownership.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said before, so much value that you guys are offering agents. Switching gears to the industry in general, let's fast forward 24 months. Where do you guys see the home buying experience being for real estate agents? I mean, like that's the question. 24 months. How do you see the industry changing?
I think it could be July or whatever the date is, right? At some point,
Yeah.
there's still a lot of up in the air for sure. But just one is I think the professional agents that understand how to negotiate. One, I think are gonna really rise to the top, because they're gonna have to work a little bit harder. The reality is to really show the value and what's there. Whether we get into a negotiated who's paying the commission and what have you, there's some changes there, but there's really some fundamental things that aren't changing as well.
Right.
But whether we get into a flat fee, what have you, one of the things that is going to change, it seems pretty, as we talk to industry experts and a lot of agents really across our four markets, launched in Texas and then in here in Omaha, is the buyer's rep buyer broker agreement. Before you can go to a showing, and before you can even like open houses, they're talking about having that contracted, having that instrument there, and having that executed between a buyer's agent and the buyers, is
Hmm.
going to be something that's going to change, because that's something that tends to come later in the transaction. It's not a requirement to be able to go show a house and so on and so forth. And so there's some things that it may get into some shorter term buyer representation agreements or buyer broker agreements that may be there, that really need to make it sure that it's easy to facilitate and easy to execute those and track those. And then also, if you're getting into maybe flat fee kind of arrangements, to where there's something a la carte, that maybe certain agents will start saying, hey, I'm just going to carve this out. I'm maybe just try to avoid the whole commission conversation, and I'm going to get a flat fee, and I know I can provide you value doing all these things. Then it's going to have to be a mutual collaboration, and it can be an app to app for us, instead of just a set of checks on one side. It's the buyer
Yeah.
saying yes, the agent saying I did all these things, and the buyer saying yes, you did. And it's more of a contractual value validation and accountability. Some of those things really need to start maybe come into play as agents try to differentiate themselves. But having the tools and making that experience easy and simple is going to be really, really important. And so those are things that we're looking to just bake into the experience for the agents
Yeah.
and for their clients.
And where do you see the Zillows, the Homes.com, the Realtor.com? Where do you see their place in 2026 for real estate? Do you think there's a lot of talk about, will the MLSs still have the influence and the value that they have now, or are those portals going to take over? Or is it going to be in apps now for like Home? Where do you kind of see that going?
I think with the larger players, at least like Homes.com, they've kind of shown their hand and their strategy, at least from what we've
Yeah.
seen, how much they're willing to spend, and what mediums they're trying to spend, right? And they're really supporting and putting the selling agent, the listing agent first, right? And with everything going on with the settlements, I think Zillow will change a little bit their strategy. It's a little bit of self cannibalization, if you will, because they are a big piece of their revenue is their lead generation premier agents. Do they go to a flat fee? Do they? And I think that it's going to be those two that they have been, but they'll continue to shape what the industry looks like, just because they're getting all the eyeballs between those. Between Homes.com and Zillow, you basically have the United States. If anybody's looking for a home, they're probably on one of those two apps, if not both of them. And so, I think overall, I think there's an opportunity for independents to come up, right? Independents that have their own technologies, that more boutique type shops, I think I think they will continue to differentiate themselves. Something that Jeff had mentioned. I do think that there will be a consolidation of real estate agents. I think a lot of the part-timers are not going to be part-time agents anymore. And then buyer's agents will just have to find ways to distinguish themselves from the other and continue to prove their value. And technology is one of the ways to do that. So that's how we're approaching it then. But I do think that the landscape in a couple of years' time will still be Homes.com and Zillow duking it out and really shaping the industry.
But I think it's an opportunity. I think with pre-NAR settlement, now obviously we've got a little ways to go, but I felt like there was going to be some MLS consolidation in terms of being able to get access to data and those things. But to really have delineation between NAR and what's going on there and the MLSs, I think it's important that they're serving two different functions. What's there? Yes, they work closer and closer together, but there is certainly a lot of separation and responsibility there. But within our settlement, I don't think you're going to see the MLS consolidation. Maybe that was going to happen before. Should a larger settlement had been imposed, it would have been really a lot on the smaller MLSs, and there probably would have been a lot more centralization and consolidation. That's probably not going to happen now. It's certainly never say never, but some of those things in terms of access to data, the ability to share the data, the ability to collaborate, because if you didn't have that, then it would become even more siloed, where you have back in the day where you have listings all over the place. You got to figure out how to consolidate those listings, and so that'll be important for us. But as we're serving market by market and really getting deep with all the key players, the key trusted advisors around the buying and selling of a home, I think it really gives us an opportunity to really differentiate ourselves and those agents that are utilizing our platform to really differentiate themselves from the national players to provide a much more localized geocentric experience to those home buyers and sellers. I think there's a big opportunity there.
I completely agree, and I think you guys are very well positioned for the future. That was a great chat, guys. Really appreciate it. Where can people find out more information? You're in Texas, you're in Omaha, Nebraska. Where else are you launching anytime soon? New Jersey, maybe?
Yes, we talked about it. I need to talk to Jeff about that. New Jersey might be next on the list. But Florida later this year or early next year is going to be the next state we go into, probably followed by Georgia and probably Colorado. But we'll try to sneak New Jersey in there as well. In terms of finding us, we are at thehomeapp.com for a consumer and homeagent.com for the agents.
And just HOM, agent.
Yep.
So home. The O that's in there that has the line over it, that's called a Macron O. It's really easy to type on your phone. It's a little harder to type on a laptop, but it's just homagent.com, and then the home HOM app.com, or you can search the app stores. We're in both of the app stores out there, and you can search Home Agent. They'll both come up if you want to, or you can search the Home app all together, and that'll come up on the consumer side.
That's great. All right, guys. Is there any way people can find you if they want to chat, LinkedIn or anything like that? Twitter?
Yeah, they can find us on LinkedIn. You can find me at Nunvo and then Jeff Zakrzewski. Or you can always email us at vo@homeagent.com or jeffz@homeagent.com.
Yep, and then we're on all the socials. We're on Twitter. If you search Home Agent, HOM Agent. If you search LinkedIn, you search Facebook, Instagram, we're out there. We're posting, stuff on a weekly basis. We'll have some things coming out. There was as late as some things coming around. The difference between dual licensing and dual agency. I listened, we listened to some roundtables, and there was a lot of misinformation. Just like within our settlement, there was a lot of misinformation out
Yeah.
there. There was some misinformation here, so we're going to push some things out that we call from our home IQ. Just to help educate people that are out there. But that's where you can find us. So thank you very much for having us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. These guys have just introduced you all to the future of real estate. I love it.
Awesome.